Alright, hello. I did a bit more tinkering with the Unity project I was starting yesterday. I got bored with Jean-Luc, so I replaced the sprite. I'll show you in a minute. But my main goal was to take and figure out A, how to flip the sprite, and B, how to animate it accordingly. And I did. I was tinkering with it at work a bit today, and got to play with the Unity animation system with the sprites, which was surprisingly very easy. Um, and yeah, got the flipping to work. I just used the example project, and yeah, it's easier if I just show you. So get it right here. So here is the scene, and I space. Oh, well, as you can see, your little robot runs when I move the stick left or right. He moves and flips accordingly. And he jumps too, not very well. The physics settings in this are all horrific, and I'm probably going to have to do a bit more coding on that front to get things to actually move more smoothly. That's what my next step is going to be. But yeah, and it was very easy to put together. If I pull up, so the player, you can sort of see over here, so I got the rigid body and the box collider. Which I will probably substitute for some sort of capsule collider instead. And the script for movement that I had yesterday. But on top of that, I had an animator component, which holds an animator object controller that you attach to the object. So if I pull that up, it's this window here. And it's the animator window. So I'm not entirely sure how these things interconnect. Still toying with it. But basically, I'm not sure what any state does. But I've got an idle and a run state. And these are both just separate animations. So over here, I've got the speed at which it runs and the motion that it's supposed to do. So the idle one is just a single frame of just the robot standing. And the run animation is this one here. I pull that up. Let's see here, animation. Right. So if I select player, this little drop down here, I can find all the animations that are attached to it in the animator controller. If I go to run, see here, I should be able to see. It's not showing me. I don't know why. In any case, I've got these keyframes here, which were auto-generated just by dragging and dropping a set of the sprites from the sprite texture into the scene window. It just built it for me, and so each animation does it right along. I think it's 10 frames, or is that a second? Not sure. Per frame. Running at 60 frames a second, I believe, and it just loops this. So if I pull up the code, no, breaking things. Over here, I can bring this size up a bit. So I've got all my, right here is the actual animation control, this first if block right here. So it just checks to see if the horizontal axis has anything other than 0. So if you're pressing a key or if you're moving the stick, it's going to be something. So if that's the case, it's just going to run the run animation. Obviously in a full-blown game this will be a lot more complex in terms of different situations or cases for different animations. But for this worked just fine. So if it's higher or lower than 0, it's going to play the run animation. Otherwise, play the idle one. So if I'm not touching anything, you just stand still. Using the forces here, this is what I think needs some tweaking to actually make the movement better. And this guy right here, this if block, there's a Boolean value that's private that basically just says it's facing right is the name of it. And I initialize it to true because when I draw sprites, they're always facing to the right. So initially, every sprite will be facing right if it faces one direction or the other. So with that true, what this does is if it checks and sees that you're pushing to the left on the horizontal axis and the sprite is facing right, it runs this flip function, and vice versa if it's facing left or not facing right, and you're pushing right. It runs this flip function. The flip function just takes and first it flips the facing right boolean, so it knows, you know, not to continuously trigger it. It sets up a vector 3 that pulls the local scale of the sprite object. It flips the x value, so it makes the scale on this guy is 10 normally, so it makes it -10, and then applies that transformation to the local scale of the object, and thus flipping it. And because I'm dealing in 2D, you don't have to worry about any other sort of weird axes things happening, as far as I know anyways. We'll see. I don't know if I don't think it'll affect any collision. It hasn't yet, but we'll add a little more complicated example later. So yeah, that's it. Pretty straightforward. Playing with the animation stuff was a bit finicky, just trying to figure out how to actually work it, because the documentation isn't great on it right now. Yeah, once I got everything plunked in, I did this on a separate project earlier today, and it took me a bit of time to put it all together to do, you know, look everything up and get it working. But after that, came back and I sat down and punched this one out in a matter of minutes. So yeah, it was. I made it while I was eating dinner. It works just peachy keen for the most part. So yeah, next step is to make the actual physics a bit more. That's weird. Xbox sticks. Fix that, and then fix the physics stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching.